And so today I'm guided to tune in, tap into what is needed from our group. And although I have things that I want to talk about that were shown to me around, we did the 12 universal laws last Thursday, I think it was, but bringing in the Hermetic Principles, which is basically very same or similar. And so I want to talk about that, and I'll let it flow. But I also know that Spirit has an agenda to share something that needs to be brought forward for our group. And so with that known, we want to start to understand that we come everywhere we're going, we're bringing forward this very unique energy, as well as this very divine appointment is arriving every single now moment. So when we just tapped into those cards, this message, it's just giving us an opportunity to go, okay, this is a divine appointment. That individual card says something, and then the group cards said something. So more and more when we are having those moments that we can tap into clarity of like, what is being brought forward to this now moment? Can I open up enough space? Thank you. If you want to take that chair, you could. Can I open up enough space and widen my presence, right? To the exhale, I said expand, expand, expand. Can I actually just kind of widen the lens and see what's really going on? Like, just take a moment and like take this place in. I mean, there's a lot of details, especially for someone new here in a new space. We go to a new space, there's going to be a lot of newness. But even if you come here a million times, like myself, I still will widen my gaze and I'll see more, right? So of the gross matter, but more importantly, like what's beyond the gross matter. So see if you could even just kind of look around and see the antimatter and the dark matter, the subtle energies. So widen your gaze. And it'll even feel like you're going deeper inside for some of you and expanding out. Sometimes you can look at an object and look past the object to help your gaze widen. And then as you're sitting there, prompt yourself inside to get a message. So addressing your consciousness, you could say my consciousness, or if you're really tuned, tapped into your higher self right now, that aspect. Ask a question like, what's an additional message being brought forward right now? And if it feels like you need to close your eyes to receive that message because you just took in a lot of details, you bring your vision in. And then if you got a message, or even if you feel like you didn't, I want you to ask, am I complete? If you don't get that you're complete, do your best to receive anything else. And then once again, am I complete? For those of you who did not get a complete, good. And then if it feels good to you, like if not all of us, but if one of you or two of you feel like, I want to share what I just received, let us know.
I feel it was appropriate to get a transcendent card today because that's just what this whole 4 months has been about. Just don't look at the obvious and the outer, broaden your horizons, transcend. Like I said, I arrived here back to the house on Wednesday, and by Friday I was sitting here. So it just take it in. Your dimension is not your reality where you live, move, and have your being. Find other people that believe the same way you do and get through this on a whole different wave.
Yes.
Transcendence.
Thank you. That's such a perfect message for me. Thank you. Does anybody else feel like they want to share their message? Yes.
I saw, felt like this place like the eye of a hurricane. And probably that because being in Florida, we know what that would look like. But yet going beyond that, being in a group, we're safe in that group. My card was direction, and yet whether we realize or not, we don't have to know, but the power of the work that takes place during this next hour, and that can be directed on any given individual level or as a collective, as a group, whether the intention is allowed or just allowed as in verbally allowed.
Spoken aloud.
Right.
Yeah.
But so that this core, but in the eye of a hurricane, the value of the water and what may be necessary in other parts of the world, that we can actually affect a change.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm thinking California, but that's been my contemplation, my tears, my compassion this morning. So, but it's interesting because I came down Tampa Road and it's clear and sunny in Oldsmar. And yet the moment I cross over 19, I see the clouds and I'm like, well, here we go. Here we go, meaning here I am coming here, and usually by the time we're done here,
It's raining.
it's rain weather.
Okay.
But that can be
Directed.
significant, and certainly meaning in other realms,
Yes.
not just where I parked myself in a chair, but that the value.
Yeah. Thank you. So, several of the messages that really want to be spoken about are kind of piggybacking off of things that were just shared. And what we just did is we widen the gaze to the witness. And we can keep getting better at that. You know, mindfulness meditation with our eyes open and just taking time to just gaze and look out. And the importance of that so that we actually get to this quantum reactor, this heart gate, which is the doorway to the quantum field. So we have been entrained, I know I have, I won't say we, I have been entrained for most of my life, you know, to think. But we're finally at this tipping point where it's like, now we have to feel deeply so that we can get the quantum generator open and tapped in to these higher planes of existence and have collective effective shifts super consciously. We always, like I said, we always are doing these things naturally, but we're awakening to our mountaintop. You know, we're awakening to the cave of Brahman, the third ventricle. So we've been thinking, but now we're, you know, most of us here are meditators. You know, we're opening up space to meditate. And then we're being asked to open our eyes and open our heart and literally generate plasma particles and create the new world from our projector. And again, these things are just common things that we're always doing. We're always projecting the reality. Like we're all doing it right now. You're looking in front of you. Hey, we just projected reality, right? But it's understanding the Shakti, the wholeness, which I feel like we will go over these that I wrote on the board, the wholeness of the balance of masculine and feminine, of up and down, of positive and negative. You know, all of these have to be felt all the way through and then opened up. And I have to open up and literally allow for the next phase of my existence to arrive. So my next phase of existence to arrive is a little bit of a reversal. It's like going back to childhood, you know, and being innocent and being playful and allowing for the magical, the wonder, you know, not having an answer to every question. Even though I'm up here, I'm sharing a lot, right? But to say to each other, you know, when someone asks you a question, I wonder. You know, my daughter went to Waldorf in elementary school, and that's the motto, or what they teach, is to share with the parents. Like, when your child is asking a lot of questions, just be like, I wonder, and let them go, oh wow, maybe I should daydream and wonder. So we're being asked to really open up the heart gate and allow for more witnessing. My motto for this year, it's better to be kind than right. You know, can I just be kind rather than have to know it all and be right? Right? Just sit back. And that's like kind of that balancing, that feminine aspect. So acknowledging where you've been like really far right or far left and who you are, and see if you can take on a new identity, which is like the exact opposite of who you've been. That will balance the scales. So if you've been really good you've mastered your ego, your personality, we all are really good at that. We got degrees for that, all sorts of things. Now we're given this new opportunity to literally open up heaven on earth by being the opposite, shifting identity completely, and then allow that to open up the witness stance, which again balances your scales. So you start building in new subconscious automatic autopilot abilities, if you're really masculine, to be like, oh, I'm just gonna, just flow and listen, not have the answer. So it's just this beautiful arrival of the new earth leaders that we are, to be able to start practicing more often. Or if you've already got that mastered, meaning you're really good at just witnessing and holding space, you're a presence practitioner, we call it here. Like, thank you. You are so needed right now. Presence practitioners are the number one thing that Spirit talks to me about what I should be like saying yes to if people are looking for a new career. Be a presence practitioner. Just hold space. And when we hold space with divine grace, it doesn't mean that we still, again, are to get that space holding. There's still a balancing act. Meaning, like I said, if you've really been really good with going with the flow, maybe you start planning more. If you've been planning your whole life, maybe it's time to go with the flow. That's going to, again, open up your oversoul, this higher form of energy that you be for eternity, to drop down in more. Right? And everything something just turned off. It's like, yeah. And then things can become more still. And then you have a greater effect everywhere you are. You're always been affecting the weather. You've always been affecting the person in front of you. But you'll start to notice it more. You'll notice the symphony that's happening around you, from you, through you, from you holding space. Okay, so I wanted to look at of the Hermetic Principles and just some basic, hopefully this is not too much light. Can you guys see this board? Yeah, goddesses, gods, divine beings of light. So mentalism is truly that, everything is being formed from a thought. Right? So, the more we start to realize that our thoughts are gold, they are the true currency that build the reality. So we want to be very mindful of our thoughts. And if we have not gotten to that point, then I would suggest for the rest of your life, have a positive phrase. Pick something for life. Mine when I was 18 was God is love. It a little bit evolved to God is love, light, and understanding. As I realized what understanding meant, it kind of tweaked to understanding. But having that to drop into on a dime when I need it, so that I'm not bottle rocketing thoughts that are not going to be beneficial for myself and others, is awesome. It's just a great tool. And then to be super conscious that you can affect such amazing gift to the collective, to your own reality, with conscious thoughts. and then get to the point where you're not thinking much, right? It's a beautiful space to be, which is why meditation is so awesome. And doing mindfulness practice, just opening up, widening the gaze, and see if you can drop out a thought and drop into the feeling and the heart and the breath. Yeah? Good stuff. So good. Okay. So everything is a thought, essentially. So there's, this is a thought creation. And like one of you said that, these gross matter objects that we see have a lot more around them that's going on, that if you start tuning in and becoming more of a researcher of consciousness of the field, you will also be able to tap into it through your antenna and then project it so that it shifts, so that what was unseen starts to become seen. And this is the magic of where we're at right now. And if you have any star children in your family, maybe you have star children, crystal children, or around you, then you're seeing their gifts. You're seeing them shift on a dime. And I'm not meaning manifest things, make something levitate in midair. They're bringing the unseen to the seen because they have the heart open and they're able to hold space. Now, those that preceded them, the indigo children, and you may be one of them, you were kind of like pushing up against the things that weren't going so right. Like, well, wait a minute. I'm in college raising my hand, like, shouldn't we just teach them to meditate? Do yoga? You want to do surgery? Like, what's going on here? So, our thoughts. The next thing is vibration. So I have this wave here, and the movement of vibration, the rhythm of vibration, that as things go up, they must come down. So being aware that as you back up from the witness, from being wholeness, from being the oversoul that can step into no thought, no feeling, just be in neutrality, 0 point. For me, that's my goal, to get more into that space. However, most of the laws here, the universal laws or Hermetic principles, are showing us the formula to help you not get triggered. And if you do get triggered, awesome. It just cleared out your triple warmer. Just cleared out your bladder meridian. So it's okay. Like, it's all beautiful. We're just becoming more wide awake. I'm becoming more wide awake to what's happening here. And so everything is vibration. So I could also look at it, as like this going up. And everything has a rhythm. What goes up must come down. So just notice that, like, if you could realize, wow, I'm feeling really high, or like, okay, maybe I should try to find middle, because there's going to be a low. And if you are blissed out and, you're enjoying like this higher frequency, just be open to like that you might want to go, you're going to be going low in a little bit, or that others around you might be doing that dance, or the world at large, there's just this natural movement in what we're seeing, especially with gross matter and what is seen. Now, obviously the unseen, we're not really seeing it, but you're feeling the unseen. You're feeling what's coming. So if you feel something coming, just know this too shall pass. Like I love hand to my thymus gland because it just helps me calm down. And I can research and say, where is this coming from? Is this someone I know? Is this my neighbor? Does someone need me right now? What's happening? How many of you feel things before they come? Everybody? How many of you can feel like energy barreling through your body? Okay. So I just am this as a researcher, I'm just curious, for me, if there's a big event the next day, I usually have a 12-hour window where if it's 8 o'clock at night and I get barreling energy through my body, the next day at 8 a.m., I will have that experience. So you may start to pay attention to that. I'm just throwing that in there. That wasn't necessarily part of my Hermetic dance, but just putting it out there to start acknowledging and sensing what's happening and doing a little bit of research. Here comes the sun. Okay. So then we have the law of correspondence. What is up is also down. What is within is also without. And so we also have to realize that what's going on inside of us is going to be expressed outside of us. What is going on outside of us is going to be expressed inside of us, as well as can be tweaked. So, you know, I will love for us to do a meditation when we're done for the fires, but to look at, like, well, where is the fire inside of me? And with the question that I love which is what's right about this? You know, what's right about anything going on? Sometimes if we tune in as a researcher of consciousness, we can find out, like, what's going on. Why is this happening? If there is a right and a benefit of something, like, let me know about it so that I can become at ease. Because it's when we don't know and we lack the understanding and the clarity, that's when usually for myself, I will get, you know, like fear will come over me, or just, it'll be like a trigger more than just okay, let me open space. Let me acknowledge that there's a rightness to this and there's a benefit and clarity can step in. Do I need to do anything about it? No. Whereas sometimes I ask consciousness, would it be beneficial for me to send a wave of love, light, healing waters to that space? Yes. And then I just follow those instructions. Okay, so what is up must come down. What is within what is also without. And then we have cause and effect. So we have the cause, and I have the cause and effect up here in the higher realm. So let's say, like, this is the mental and this is the feeling down here, or this is the higher realms of the subtleties and this is the gross matter down here. So as we are in the law of cause and effect, and we can understand that that thought I just had actually is causing an effect. And even it may come down here and express itself in the gross matter. So we start to understand that, just like the chicken and the egg, which came first, you know, is the effect, you know, in the reverse order, actually causing the cause, or, you know, what's really happening. We can just start to understand that from this higher perspective of tuning in, we can get more clarity and, again, understanding. When there is understanding, what happens? Magic. When there's understanding, we literally gather light particles, photonic light from the field, and it comes through our torus, and we can use it to project and to wave from the heart some sort of command. This is our ability through understanding. And everybody has their own understanding. We could ask, as we all sat here, we could all tune into one topic and all get different understandings. And that's perfect, because we're also all projecting from our individual lens. We are all projecting an infinite amount of earths. You've got an earth, you've got an earth. You know, we're literally, and where we meet together, where these places cross, we actually show up here as a group assignment, like at a divine appointment. We actually got our earths to match up. But if I really did the research and we asked, like, hey, what did you see over here? What color was that chair? You might all have different answers. And this is, again, the power of us understanding we're all projecting differently. Okay, the other ones, we did that. And then polarity and gender. So, you know, we have to understand that when we're widening our gaze in the wholeness of things, there is no, like, single polarity. There is no good or bad. It just is. So that same thing of helping ourselves align to the heart to be able to be a literal superconductor for the new earth gives us the understanding that if we catch wind of a seemingly polarity, it must have a goodness. If it's a goodness, there must be a shadow to it as well. So we can start to settle into the shadow dance, which is also something that I think would be great to bring back, but maybe call it something else. But where we meet like at least once a month and do some shadow work, because that's where our gifts lie. It was the ignorance to think that that dark night, that dark thing going on, didn't actually have an amazing whole, unseen field to it.
Yeah.
And it's getting your attention to it for good reason. Your spirit is literally waking you up to it for you to unearth the gold and then allow for all that was unseen around you to start to balance back out. And you then can expand again. So, and I think it was like Theodore said that, just looking at this last few months since September with the hurricane, it's, can I widen my gaze, which again is then occupying the polarity, both ends. It's occupying the masculine and feminine. So that you can widen your gaze, the heart gate opens and you actually start to see the fifth dimension. You start to see the fifth density because you're projecting it. And you're not even doing it just for you as an island. You guys are all in it to win it. You're doing it for everybody. Our hearts are like open. So that means it not only is just for one, it literally opens up and holds the space open for these higher densities to then ground down. Because you're not resisting whatever that thing is, So doing more of that, I think we'll add that into our assignment today. Anything?
Did you
Click your heels.
Yeah.
Click her heels like Dorothy.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. It's
She's
like,
wearing her navy pants.
I am, oh my gosh. Dorothy is here. No place like home. Yeah. Okay. The other thing I wanted to share was, this all makes sense?
Yes.
Okay. We've seen it, but again, it's so good to revisit because these are master keys. They're master keys to the multiverse. When our keys got stripped from us, there was nobody out there but us, right? We then micro focus on one thing and we're missing the whole picture. We micro focus on the past and make it our future because we keep memorizing and telling the stories to each other about the past and about what happened yesterday. If it's not a good story, don't tell it. And if it is not for the highest good story, again, there's nuggets in there, but help people understand why you're just sharing it with them. Unearth the gold, ask them, ask questions to see if they can find some gold in it, because obviously there's a reason you're sharing it. You don't just do things for no reason. Every single thing we're doing here in this school of Earth is for each other to balance our checkbook, balance all of our wrongs, our rights, our lessons, to get all the lessons down so that we can open this quantum reactor, this heart space, and be the ascended master that we truly are in the higher realm. Then we drop down in. Okay. So the other thing I just wanted to go over, I've said it a couple times yesterday, but I feel like y'all would like it too. The double slit experiment.
Yeah, right.
Okay? This is another master key. So in the double slit experiment, we have, let me just draw my little picture. This is two slits and a board, let's say, and this is a screen, and this is my photon projector. Okay, so I'm shooting out photons, and they're intending to go through these slits. And I would think that they would go through these slits. And in this experiment done in, I think it was 1801 and then again in the 1920s. And the names are escaping me right now. Heisenberg, I think, and it'll come to me. But you would think they would go through these two slits. But when they did the experiment to start, they had no one observing. It was just in this, research room. No one's observing. There's no camera. And the particles actually didn't show themselves as particles. They turned into waves. And then those waves came through the slits. And just like if this was a dam and you're trying to squeeze water through these slits, right? The dam, the pattern of those ripples on the water is going to look something like this. And these waves then interfered with each other. And where the waves were really high, when two high waves came together, high trough or high peak, they actually created a little dot over here. Then it showed up. So all on this board, there was these blank areas, and then tons of little photon dots. Okay, so where the high waves touch, this constructive interference, it created a photon dot. And where a low wave and a high peak came together, it canceled itself out and nothing showed up. That's like these areas, these blank areas. Does that make sense? So nobody's observing, and the photons were not particleized, they turned to a wave. As soon as they put a camera or an observer, a little guy, okay, as soon as there's something observed, whether it was a camera or a person, it turned to photon particles. And it was not like this. So you remember, you saw that. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
It went through the slits, the photon light particles. Some went through this slit and some went through the other slit. And we're going to call this the highest good, or let's call it the best life. And this is just not so good. Some of the particles that the observer was observing had the particles go into the not so good life. And some of the particles particleized, turned from a wave because it was being observed, it particleized and stacked up, right? You hear me say that a lot, stacking up the light particles, and actually went to this part of the upper projection. So this tells us that the observer, the sun comes out, that the observer, what you're thinking and feeling matters. That when we close our eyes, everything is a wave. In the heavenly space, everything is there, it's all potential, it's all there. We give a little bit of thought and a little bit of heart-mind coherence, a little bit of feeling. We build out a beautiful blueprint. We see people smiling, we see California just like, whew, like the big rains just came right now. And then we even open our eyes. So in two ways, whether you're behind your two eyes in the heavenly space and you're visualizing and feeling good, you're helping, you're helping the best life particleize from you being the observer. Now he's frowning.
Not so good.
Which is okay. Like we found that there's nuggets of gold, right? But if you're going to be frowning all the time, not finding your understanding, thinking thoughts, telling the sad stories over and over again, you just keep creating the same particleization. Because you're the observer, you're the camera, you're the projector. So do you see why that's such a big nugget key to have back on your key ring? Yeah?
Yeah, we create our reality.
Yeah.
If you want good, you get good. If you want bad, you get bad.
Right, it's what you attract.
What you focus on.
Yes.
What I appreciates.
So the master keys are within us. We know this. And it's just an opportunity now for us to really As a researcher of consciousness, if you think you're that, or call yourself that identity, just to start to, pay a little bit more attention to the thoughts and the feelings and get wide, right? So like the Hermetic Principles is really, for me, the master key set says, get wide, get big, be the witness, be in neutrality, be neutral. You can get excited, but just remember from our Hermetic Principle, there might be a trough. So the more you can just start to be really stellar and stillness and hold space, you also will then affect the reality, and you'll watch people just come to center. From like children like, wah, to yay. However, well, two things. You can notice if you've been really high energy and amped up, and maybe there was a hurricane or a volcano. And again, there's no wrong turn, but you can also start to be a researcher and notice, gosh, if I just hold space and like really get in my heart and be the witness, what happens? Does anything happen? Is it just like the birds start singing? If there is a child crying, do they stop crying? Like, start just paying attention to your net. Beyond your 6-foot aura, how far are you affecting? This is the game we're in. Okay, any questions about that before I go on to the other thing that I'm hearing to talk about?
I have a question.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's what you're going on to talk about, or if this is a whole nother thing. Tools for staying in neutrality when things that we would normally perceive as negative. I find there are times when I see certain behaviors, it's like, stay neutral, I feel like I'm talking to myself going, how do I hold neutrality when there's this, it's...
Everything is in divine order. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Everything is in divine order.
I wish there was a way to separate your feelings from that. Sometimes it really hurts to see the way people are with one another.
And yet
Like, it
everything
hurts
is in
my
divine
feelings.
order.
And I'm
I
like,
say,
well, I
I
gotta
say
be
this
neutral.
as a mantra every day and every night. I got it from Neville Goddard. And I speak it out loud 3 times. And I say, thank you for showing me this problem's already resolved. Don't know what the problem is, if it's how it's going to get resolved, but it already has been resolved. And that keeps me more neutral than up or down.
Thank you. I like that.
Right, because we have to take responsibility that we're seeing it.
There's a reason.
I'm projecting it. So that's when I really start to pay attention to my thoughts, and especially right when I get up in the rising in the morning, like, what thoughts can I start to think? Catch those thoughts. Can you send out blessings right off, like, can blessings start to be this natural flow that you're sending out? This is what I do to help my day be this plateau of ease and grace. Because of the lens that I'm projecting from. And like Theodore said, there's nothing wrong, it's imperfect. What'd you say? It's in perfect order?
Everything is in divine order.
Everything is divine order, right? But if there is this deep question, like, tune in, like, what message do you get? The mess of the ages, right? What mess was made from a thought that's projecting this reality is usually what I find. And I can find my hand in it like that. I find it instantly where I thought that thought, and there's that creation. Maybe not recently. Maybe it's a deep belief pattern or a false belief that I believe it to be so. And so that's when I also start to check in. Do I want that belief anymore? Do I not believe that whatever this scene is going on has to ever be this way ever again. No, I'm going to say that all beings are beautiful, loving, eternal souls, and they've wide awoke to their eternal soul nature in the presence together now. And if not, that's not something that happens with you. Again, like, it's all divine, because you're, again, working through these nuggets of gold, and it is affecting you. You're like seeing it, right? So this kind of leads into what I was listening to last night, Dolores Cannon. Who's fans of Dolores Cannon? I love Dolores. I would have loved to have met her. And this is something, she was talking about backdrop people. Anybody seen that talk? And her friend, Guy, who called it something else, background people. And so with this idea, this has also come to me a lot. I called them NPCs before I heard Dolores's talk, meaning non-player character. And I don't play video games, but being around children who did, I got wind of what NPC was, meaning there's just generated people in the scene of the game. They're NPCs. They're non-player characters. They're not the main. They're extras. Extras in the movie.
Yeah.
So for a while, I would ask consciousness, is that person even real? Is this a real soul right here? And they'd be like, no, it's an NPC. It's just an extra. So I would, for a while, there was times where I was just researching and like walking around and seeing how many people, and I usually use percentages. I'll say, how many people here in Walmart, are NPCs? 88%. Wow. So I just, as a researcher of consciousness, of the reality that's projecting in front of me, I just am curious, are these people actually each on a soul right in front of me that is part of here to work with me? Like, we're like a soul group working together. So I want you just to like sit with that for a moment and ask within if everybody here is a soul for you, because we could be an extra. It's nothing wrong or bad about it. It's just there's some of us in every now moment that are working together for each other to be able to right those wrongs, to balance the lessons, to be that part for you, to be the cast of characters for you to fulfill your mission. Like, for me, you all are like divinely placed for me to actually share what I, for years would say to myself. So being able to communicate, in your homes, in your workplace, everywhere you are, you could have these divine arrangements of certain groups of people that are really there working with you, helping you meet those desires, those purpose, the missions that you have here. So when we are looking at this, Spirit just wanted us to kind of look at a couple situations in our life to see if they were even real players in your movie. Just to know. And then you can possibly, again, deeper dive within yourself to get even more clarity, like, what was the message for you? Because it was projected through you, by you, for you, and you had to pull a couple characters in so that you could actually finish that off. A lot of the finishing off is about forgiveness and compassion. And again, my favorite, greater understanding. Like, wow. Does anybody want to share something about that?
I'd like to share synchronicity just because I have Noreen here today. She just spent 6 months in Mexico helping a elderly couple in their lives, and she was offered that for 6 months, so she went down to take care of them. They're in their 90s. And Carrie called me this morning. Carrie's the counterpart for our book.
Oh, yes.
And she said, can I share something with you? I said, absolutely. She said, this is how divinity is working through me. And she got Noreen to come down because she was in the right place at the right time. So she sees it in others, but oftentimes we don't see it in ourselves. So she was coming home from another little town, and a lady was going by the street, and they don't have cars down there because they can't afford them. So they walk every place they go. So every once in a while, because Carrie's got a little tracker, she'll stop and pick somebody up that's going her way. So it was this little woman that she didn't know, didn't speak English, and she stopped by and she said in her broken Spanish, "Can I take you where you're going?" And the lady said yes. So she got in Carrie's car, and they didn't speak, just dropped her off in the little town that she wanted to go to and blessed her. They each blessed each other. And 2 days later, Gary and Zoe,
Zoe.
Yeah. Gary and Zoe, who are in their 90s,
That's the people I cared for. Zoe and Gary.
said to my friend Carrie, "Oh, I hear that you're going to be leaving the caretaking place that she's watching over with her husband, Mark." And Carrie didn't know about it. And so the next day she started asking in the village, "Does anybody know that where Mark and I can stay for 6 weeks, because we're asked to leave while the people that own the place come down?" And in the other room, the man says to this lady in Spanish, "Da da da da," and the lady walks out, and it was the very same lady that Carrie had picked up just days ago. And the lady said, "I'm the one that you took home the other day. I'm the one that has the place for you, a little cottage or something." And Carrie ran home and called me on the phone. She goes, "This is how it works." She was good for no reason at all, but just picking up this lovely little old woman to take her home. And now the lovely old woman 2 days later has a casita for her to move into.
Yes.
Yeah, but that Carrie is from the heart.
Oh, yes.
She's a heart gal.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So it's the synchronicities
Yes.
that show up into the big things sometimes, and just right in our faces.
And that's our soul group. And that's when you can really start to realize you're not alone here. I mean, you are. It's you and you. But like you really do. We've got this pod, this crew, no matter where you go, there they are. And the extras are there just so that, you know, it fills it up.
Makes it sparkle.
It
and
makes it
shine.
sparkle, and you know, it's not just like, oh, there they are, you know, me and the 12. But starting to acknowledge, like, when you see that homeful guy again and again, like, can you pull over and bring him an apple? You know, for a while there, I was packing sandwiches in my bag and just bringing them to the homefuls. I call them homefuls because they're full of home. They've got their body in the whole earth. I had one of them, Jim. He told me every time I would stop to see Jim, he told me no, he didn't need that. He didn't need that. He didn't need the money. He didn't need the ride because he likes to walk to Tarpon, he said. One time he took the money, but another time he didn't want the money. One time he didn't want the sandwich, but he wanted the tangerine. And I got in my car and I said, it was a lot of no. And it was just like, because they're good. We have all we need. And it's your feeling that they don't have what they need that you need to shift. And again, that was a point of time that I was really having to shift that kind of consciousness and see that everybody was okay. Okay, so are we ready to do an assignment? Yeah? So for today's assignment, if you can sit up, if you like sitting up, if you want to lay back, that's fine. But we're just going to close our eyes. If you feel like you need to get up to use the restroom first.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Would you consider the heart as a vortex for the way that it resonates or the way that it pumps blood?
So the heart muscle,
The heart itself.
The heart itself.
How it pumps blood and how it's actually wrapped up to make the shape that it is.
The Taurus,
It's- yeah.
or the vortex,
The
yeah.
vortex. So it would be a vortex. So leading with your heart helps you jump timelines.
Yes.
And, okay.
Because you literally, when they dissect, I had cadaver lab, we never thought to take apart the heart the way they did. But in cadaver lab
Animals.
recently, they stretched out the heart. It literally is all one long piece. It's not 4 ventricles.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the way it's forming together, but it literally is a torused up, a spiraled up muscle. So when you think and you really, realize that how powerful that vortex is, that you are through that perfected field able to open up not only there but also the pineal gland to drive the reality, right? So you blueprinting and thinking a certain way, and feeling is like a joystick
It's leading.
to, you know, all the examples that we've drawn here. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so let's go ahead and just start to take some deep breaths. And we're gonna do like 3 assignments. So we're staying here present. We're just deepening our breath. Inhale down your central channel. Exhale, let your breath go up your channel. If it does something different for you, that's always perfect. These are just suggestions. Inhale down your central channel. Imagine your hips widen. Exhale, let the breath come up the channel, and almost like a dolphin would release at the top of the head, let that overflow. Inhale, now add light as you inhale down. Bring the light that you are all the way down. Exhale up and around. One more time, inhaling down and exhaling up and around. Then shift your awareness to your heart center. If it feels like you again want to place your hands on your thymus heart center just to help you direct the energy. Bring your awareness to the heart center, and it's almost like you're going to breathe into the heart from the front to back. And as you exhale, open up that vortex wider than before. Inhale into the heart. Maybe add a smile. Exhale as the smile helps that upward spin. And then if it feels like you need to rest your hands, put them where you may. Just make sure you're always comfortable in this. We're just going to take a wide gaze like we're looking over the planet. And this is all done from within your own projecting station, so you don't actually have to leave the body. Just utilize the mind's eye. And I want you to notice if there's anything that's needed, since we spoke about California. Within yourself, notice if you're called to send any cooling energies or just to see it in the wish fulfilled at the perfected divine order. If there's any other souls that come to your awareness, same thing. If you feel called to send love light, to send anything that they would desire or need from another character in the play that you may be showing up by locating. And use your light, use your love, your wishes fulfilled, to see that perfected, upgraded scene if that's something that feels called to do. And then pan out if you feel complete. If you don't feel complete, stay with it. And pan out and notice if any other area is being called for you. It could be local. It could be somewhere else on the planet, in the multiverse. Is there anywhere else that you're being called just to send love and light and wishes fulfilled? Bless you. You may feel to send that love and light and wishes fulfilled to all places, all spaces. Good. And then as a collective that we be, allow that to really widen collectively. So all of us, if we could imagine this beautiful space that is, it already is, the totality of the existence, and just imagine that your love and your light can be sent, can be offered as this beautiful gift to all beings, to all spaces and places. And as that occurs, even acknowledge the beautiful heart center of the earth and the heart center of our sun, and how the two heart centers of the earth and the sun are assisting this totality of wishes fulfilled. And as the space has been open with wishes fulfilled, with the gifting and offering of the earth heart and the sun's heart, acknowledge how that works with your heart. Make a connection. Feel that deep within so the vortex opens even wider. And as this triple heart, your heart, earth heart, and sun heart, is really acknowledging together, yet again, we're acknowledging not only the collective's wish fulfilled, but now your wish is fulfilled. If there's something that you've been working with in your heart and your desire, through this space that we're opening together, could you really dial in for yourself a vision, a thought, not a wanting, but it already is, and really embody your wish fulfilled. We want this for you. You want this to be embodied. And then take a few deep breaths that as embodiment is taking place. Really bring that love, that light, your wishes fulfilled. Vibrate your cells with the light. Wear it like a clothing, like a beautiful coat. This is your beautiful body suit that's exuding the frequency subset for your wishes fulfilled. And then just let that go. And then as we come to a completion, our final part of this assignment, I want you to tune in to your inner knowing for any additional inner guidance about things that we've shared today, to receive any additional guidance from your consciousness. Be willing to ask a question if there's a question, and to receive the answer. And with that, ask if there's any guidance or clarity that you're to receive for the group. And if there's instructions to that or some sort of offering, imagine it so. Let it be a wish fulfilled. It already is. You're just being that conduit, that middle, beautiful, angelic being, this channel. Good. And for fun, I thought we were done, but just for fun, ask within if there's any extras in the room. Or are we all the eternal souls showing up? And then when it feels right and ready for you, just start to breathe consciously again into the body, inhaling down, exhaling, filling the body up with the love, the light. If it feels like you want to touch your thymus again, and smile. As you're opening your eyes, imagine you're even opening your eyes from the heart.